Another important matter that a person should pay attention to is the fact that Allah Ta'ala, the greatest, the exalted, does not resemble His creation in any way whatsoever. Now this is a very important attribute that a person should comprehend, especially in this time, in this era that we are living in. There are many people out there who resemble Allah to the creation. Right? There are many people who do this, subhanAllah, and by doing this they are contradicting the Quran, they are contradicting the hadith of the Prophet and the logic, the sound mind. A person, once again, if he just thinks to himself and with a sound mind, with clear intellect, he will come to the conclusion and he will deduce that Allah Ta'ala does not resemble the creation in any way whatsoever. So yes, this is a point that a person can deduce logically. He doesn't need anyone to tell him that. But a lot of the times, subhanAllah, our minds are clouded and we have ill hearts, so sometimes we need people to guide us to point out these the logical steps, right, for a person to deduce that Allah Ta'ala does not resemble His creation in any way whatsoever. And this is a very important topic or issue or matter that a person should really understand, because there are people nowadays who resemble Allah to the creation, and they are called the mushabbiha, right? And this means those who resemble Allah to the creation. And there are many groups, right? From them are the Wahhabis, right? People who attribute themselves, who are among the followers of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, right? And these are people who take a strict and very literal interpretation of the Quran. So they have a very heinous and very dangerous trick. They'll go to a new Muslim or someone who does not know much about the religion, and they'll say, look, Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, and they'll mention a verse, and they'll take this verse literally. So the new Muslim, the person who doesn't have much knowledge, who cannot protect themselves, what does he do? He'll be like, oh, what are you showing me? The Quran? Okay, this must be in the Quran, it must be true. Right? But he does not realize that what this person is showing him, this mushabbiha, this person who resembles Allah to the creation, he's taking it out of context and he's interpreting it literally. Brothers and sisters, you cannot interpret the Quran literally. Right? The scholars of Islam mention that if the person who interprets the Quran literally will fall into contradiction, because there are many verses, if a person takes it literally, in one verse it'll contradict another verse. Subhanallah. I'll mention for you an example. There's a verse in the Quran that Allah Ta'ala said, وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. That literally it means that Allah Ta'ala is with you wherever you are. That's what it means literally. And there are people out there, because of this verse, because they took this verse literally, they think that Allah Ta'ala is everywhere, physically with the individual, wherever he goes. And this is not the meaning of the verse, obviously. Subhanallah. This means that Allah Ta'ala knows about you wherever you are. Wherever you are, Allah Ta'ala knows about you. It doesn't mean that Allah Ta'ala is physically with you wherever you go. Subhanallah, may Allah Ta'ala protect us. So if someone looks at this verse and takes it literally, he gets this understanding. There's another verse in the Quran where Allah Ta'ala said, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. And if a person takes this verse literally, it means that Allah Ta'ala is above the throne, above the arsh. And the arsh is the ceiling of paradise. It's similar to a throne, right? It has like a flat surface with 4 pillars. And it is the biggest of Allah Ta'ala's creation. Right? So people think that Allah Ta'ala is sitting on top of the throne, firmly established because of this verse. But if you take this verse literally that we mentioned right now, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa, and the verse that we mentioned earlier, how can you compare the two? Right? How can you compare the two? Subhanallah. In one verse it says that Allah Ta'ala is everywhere, and in another verse it says Allah Ta'ala is up. Which one is it according to this individual? The one who resembles Allah Ta'ala to the creation. Right? So it's very imperative to know that you cannot take verses in the Quran literally. And the meaning of the second verse that I mentioned is that Allah Ta'ala has power over the throne, power over the arsh. Right? And this means that Allah Ta'ala, if He has control over the biggest creation, it necessitates that He has control over everything else that is smaller in size. Subhanallah. Just as if you can lift a 20-pound dumbbell, it means that you can lift anything else lower and smaller than it in size. Right? This is the meaning of the verse. So brothers and sisters, keep in mind that you cannot take Quranic verses literally, or else you're going to fall into a contradiction. The Quran does not contradict. People contradict. People contradict. There is no contradiction in the Quran. Right? Subhanallah. May Allah Ta'ala protect us. So keep this in mind, brothers and sisters, and beware of those people who take Quranic verses literally, and they come up to you and they say, oh brother, oh sister, look, Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, and they'll come to you with the English translation, right? A lot of the times the Arabic language is very vast, subhanallah, carries one word can carry over 15 different meanings, right? In English, you do not have this, right? You do not have this, subhanallah. So when person comes to you with a translation in English, know that the Quran was revealed in Arabic. If you really want to analyze the verse, then you look to it in Arabic, mashallah. So keep this in mind, brothers and sisters. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum.